I'm still in high school. I had just gotten a job while I was in high school, like a month before, and just didn't know what what um what they were going to say. And the other fear I had was her parents. What are her parents going to say? And her and I, we did have a discussion. A discussion that probably a lot of people have is, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to keep the baby? And we did. We had no doubts that we were going to keep the baby. So then we had to face the reality of having to confront that fear of talking to my parents, talking to her parents. And yeah, I remember that was one of the first fears. Luckily, my parents took it well. My parents they're very supportive, and they said, well, my parents they're very traditional, don't believe in abortion, so they said, well, we're gonna embrace it. It's a blessing. Kids are a blessing, and let's figure it out. Even though you're young, her parents didn't take it. They take it a little less. They were a little less welcoming, but they too they didn't expect us to. Who didn't expect us to just go through that process of not keeping a baby. So I remember that was the very first fear that came to mind, just confronting the parents of my girlfriend at the time, and it was tough. Just sitting down there, it was in person. I wish we had Zoom back then, so we could have just had a Zoom call with her parents, but we had to sit down there on the couch, and then just like I mentioned, I think in the past is they said, well, what's next? And well, we're gonna get married. Got married right after high school, but that was one of my very first fears, a fear that I've never had, and then just the fear of responsibility. I'm 18. I'm still a kid myself. Pretty reckless back then still. We have those when we're teenagers. We have that we're invincible mindset. So still pretty reckless. Still growing up. Men don't develop until what do they say? Like until they're 30 or mature until they're like 30 years old, and it's true. So just had that fear as well of, well, what's gonna happen? Am I ready for this? But I had no choice. So I know that fear of readiness was also there, and also economic stability. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was in high school working part time. My first job, I was only making like $8 an hour, minimum wage back then. Minimum wage has doubled now, more than doubled, but $8 an hour, and how am I gonna feed this kid? And the economic responsibility of it. But yeah, a lot of different fears came to mind when I first found out about my first kid, and it's something that it was a fear, but it helped me. It forced me to grow, and that's the good thing because had that not happened at such an early stage in my life, honestly, I have no clue where I'd be at right now because we come from. We talked about the environments that we come from. I wasn't the um, the most studious or just most well behaved person back then. But my kid just that fear of being prepared for my child forced me to grow up a little faster, which for me was a blessing. Definitely for me was a blessing. But yeah, it's some fear that was the first fear that I can think of.
I can't even imagine at 18, that's
Yeah,
whew, thinking that that's
it's
a yeah, it's like you said, when you're at that age, you think you're invincible, that you can do whatever you want. There's little to no consequences,
right.
So when you have a kid, everything has consequence. Everything matters.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and the
absolutely.
fact that you took that on, I think that's huge. And that big hurdle, man, I feel like that's the biggest hurdle, especially at 18 when you're still depending on your parents
Yeah,
for roof
yeah,
and food and all that good stuff. Having to
right.
go tell them that you're bringing in a kid, especially in the Hispanic community, I know that comes with a heavy toll just to think about doing that.
Right.
So to be
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
just do it, I feel like a lot of people probably don't.
yeah,
I
totally.
know a few instances where they get a girl pregnant or the girl gets pregnant and they keep it from their parents and as
Yeah,
much as long as they can. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that's
Yeah,
wild. Yeah,
we did the same thing. I don't know how long we kept it away from them. It was a couple of
yeah,
months, I think, past I think 3 4 months, and then it was too obvious at
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. It's like okay, we got to tell them.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.